Woohoo! What's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and guess what I just got done watching? Courtesy of Netflix, the main event. This is a 2020 film that is produced by WWE Studios. It's directed by Jay Caress. I think that's how you say his name. Now, look, I saw the trailer before I saw the movie. So don't get me wrong. I pretty much knew what I was getting into, but this film is a sight to behold. It's very much a kid's film, so I will go easy, I swear. The plot is we follow this 11-year-old kid who he loves wrestling. He loves WWE specifically. I know it's produced by WWE, but you won't see any other wrestler that's involved in any other organization in this film or mentioned in this film. This kid, he watches wrestling all the time, especially with his grandmother. His father works all the time. His mother ran out on the family because she found some new guy. You don't even see the mother in this movie, so it's kind of pathetic in a lot of ways. Like I don't know. It's like, man, that was a through line, a thread that just kind of got thrown in there, but never really resolved, never really dealt with all that much. In any event, he finds this wrestling mask, and just as you know it, this wrestling mask is magical. It possesses superpowers. So when he puts the mask on, he gets the ability of super strength, super speed, agility. He pretty much becomes a superhero. But instead of going out and fighting crime and doing superhero like things, no, he decides to use this newly found power to try to become a wrestler. You see that WWE has this NXT show, this competition of young wrestlers who are competing and trying to get a contract. This film is not good. I'm sorry. It's not good at all. I think if you're a fan of wrestling, you have to be below the age of maybe 10 or 11. Maybe. Because if you're any older than that, if you're a teenager or if you're an adult, if you're my age, you're going to be sitting here and going, man, this is corny, this is cheesy, this is over the top, this is dumb, this has no sense of believability or realism at all. I'm not saying it has to be super realistic. Look, obviously, superhero movies or even comedy type films. I mean, this could have been easy for me to go along with. It went a little too over the top. I think that there was a way to do this movie. I think that this movie could have worked if you wanted to. This kid, the main kid, whatever his name is. I'm sorry, I didn't write his name down. He's fine. As an actor, he's fine. He's as good as an 11-year-old kid can be. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't horrible. He wasn't super ultra mega annoying, which many kids can be. He was definitely better than the two kids that played his best friends in the film, that's for sure. And he's also better than these three bully characters because every movie about kids has to have bullies in it. And I get it. I get that kids do get bullied. I understand that bullies very much exist in the world. I do. I understand that. It's there. It exists. But every time I see bullies in movies, it's always so over the top. It's always so like the kids are evil. They're evil. And yes, I know that some kids can be evil, but I swear these kids are about to perform a few different times criminal acts or huge amounts of violence on this kid that would cause them to be locked up, imprisoned, whatever you need to do to get them off the streets because that's how dangerous these kids are. Maybe not as quite as dangerous as that bully from It, but pretty close. So the premise of him finding this wrestling mask, again, you have to suspend your disbelief a whole hell of a lot. If this kid really did try to go to this tryout for NXT, and you're telling me that the people would not ask for ID, would not check his age, would not want to make sure who the hell he is underneath the mask, to make sure he's not some young kid that could make them liable for any injuries or lawsuits that would happen with putting a young kid in a wrestling ring with grown adults. It's just, again, I know I'm overthinking it, but just because this is a kids movie does not mean that you have to just be completely dumb and suspend all sorts of reality and rules. There's plenty of kids films that are for kids but are still pretty damn smart and well thought out. But hell, what do I know? Maybe I am overthinking it. Some of the other actors, you have Adam Pillay as his father. I will say this, the main kid in this movie is black and his father is white. And they don't make a big deal out of it. They don't even really mention it or bring it up. I like that part of it. I like that it just was what it was. The kid's grandmother is played by Tachina Arnold, who I remember seeing in TV shows like Martin and Everybody Hates Chris. She's a good actress. I guess I don't really see her in a whole lot of things. She looks good for somebody who's playing a grandmother. I looked her up, and I mean, she is 50, but I don't know. I was sitting there going like, I would believe that she would be this guy's or this kid's mother. I do watch wrestling still to this day, even though at some points it's very hard to really give a crap and keep watching the shows. But when I was a kid, when I was this kid's age, I was obsessed with wrestling. I was completely into it. When you see this kid's bedroom and it's covered in pictures and posters of wrestlers and action figures, I mean, that was my room when I was that age. So, look, there is a part of me that can appreciate this. There is a part of me that can think to myself, like, yeah, if I was that young, I probably would have loved this movie in a lot of ways. It's just watching it as a 30-year-old adult, it's hard, guys. It's really, really hard. Some real WWE wrestlers are in this movie playing either themselves or they have different names like Otis or Mia Yim. Keith Lee has a pretty big part. I enjoyed him. Kofi Kingston, Sheamus, and The Miz. You know, WWE loves putting The Miz in their films. The Miz, just strictly through WWE Studios, has done like 27 movies in the last 5 years. It's insane. If you have kids, if they like wrestling, it's definitely a decent time waster. You can put it on and it's not offensive at all, at least as far as certain material. I think writing wise and logic wise, it's a little offensive. When this kid puts on the mask, he still looks like an 11-year-old kid. Like there's no doubting that everybody else in this movie should not know that that's a little kid in the ring. It makes them all look dumb. It makes everybody look dumb. Even when he's throwing 300-pound guys up in the air or doing these flips or doing these unbelievable things, yeah, they're wowed by it, but they're not super wowed by it. They're not as shocked or as impressed as they really should be, if I'm being honest. And also, the way how I think that this movie could have worked a lot better is that, let's say this kid puts the mask on and then he turns into a 25-year-old. You cast another actor who's older, and you just have this kid turn into an older person, kind of like Shazam, where he puts the mask on and then becomes another person. I think that would have been a lot more fun, a lot more believable. Sure, it would have been a lot like Shazam in those ways, where you have a grown man pretending to be a kid or acting like a kid. But again, I think that would have been a little smarter. That would have been a little more something to get into. I think that's what I would have appreciated more. Anyways, guys, yeah, this movie, I'm gonna be nice and say it's whatever. It's a whatever movie. Let me know in the comments below if you too have seen the main event. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you think it was way too cheesy, way too dumb? Are you a wrestling fan? What's your favorite wrestling themed film? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.